Good evening and welcome to this edition of A Walk Down Memory Lane. I'm your host, Earl Basden. Joining me is co-host Dennis Brown, and we have members of the North Village Triple Crown team back in 1970. We have the coach, Larry Smith, we have Arthur Bean, we have Randy Bean. We are awaiting several others to join us this evening, but Dennis, this team, you would have been excited as a youngster to watch. And try to emulate some of the things they were able to do on and off the field. What's your thoughts on tonight?
Well, Earl, back after a 3-week hiatus with Lady COVID knocked me out for 3 weeks. But I wouldn't say I was happy to see these guys being. Because my team was Trojans all the way, strictly Trojans. You know, I hated my opponents or teams that played against Somerset, but it was really enjoyable watching this team here in particular play that Triple Crown season, because those guys were unbelievable, man. I mean, the talent that they had in that squad, man, it boggles the mind. And then I've got a couple of questions for the coach in relations to that, managing all that talent. But they were pretty, as they say, they are pretty to watch, man.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to interject something. I don't want to talk too much this time.
That's impossible.
The thing that I would like to interject is that I think what took us to the Triple Crown was that we put the extra time in. I mean, literally, we trained hard. We put the extra time in, and there was a situation that we discussed, that rain, blew, or shine, we trained. And one time down the desert, I don't know if Larry remembers this. One time down the desert, man, it was like a blizzard, and we was down there playing two-touch football. So all that there was helped us to get to that point of winning the Triple Crown.
Yeah, I do want to bring in Mr. Bean. Arthur, being a part of this particular team, what did it mean for someone like you?
Arthur.
It's crazy.
Yeah, did you hear me, Arthur?
Like I said, this team that we used to say red blood time. Sometimes even up to darkness. Because we take it up here and it's enjoyable. Everybody trusting everybody what to do. We worked hard. And look what we got. That's what we got out of it, our hard work and dedication. Plus, we always worked on our skills, and we used to like have meetings Mondays to discuss what we done wrong or what went wrong during Sunday's games or whatever the case is. But nowadays, I don't think these kids do that here. Like they meet on after games on a Monday or something like that, and just discuss what happened and what didn't happen. We used to go through all that. Hey, and trading, we just love trading. Like the guys on joking. But when it came to the work, we just put our heads down and got in.
And Arthur, I'm almost afraid to ask you how you got that nickname, Cockerfish. I'm almost afraid to ask how you got that nickname. But, how did you get that nickname, Cockerfish? You can hear me?
keeps freezing.
Yeah,
Keeps freezing.
yeah. We are joined. We are joined by. We're now joined by Ralph Gumbo Bean, Cal Dill, and Garrett Dill as well. Dennis, you wanna follow on?
Okay, so I
You
want
didn't
to
get an
ask.
answer to that. You didn't get an answer to that nickname.
It's probably good. Probably good that I did. I want to ask you, Coach Larry, because one of the questions for you is, what were you guys' goals during that preseason of the Triple Crown? And because you guys had so much talent, man, and how did, because to me, talent alone doesn't do it. You got to also manage that talent. So how did you, as a coach, what were your goals in the beginning, and then how did you manage, that amount of talent, Coach Larry?
I think that first of all, I need to tell you how I managed to be with North Village. I was playing for Devonshire Colts, and I don't know if you guys know that I broke my tib and my fib in a friendly game against Burnley with the national team. And so I took a while to heal, and I thought I can make a comeback to Devonshire Colts, but I couldn't get into Devonshire Colts. So I ran over to North Village one day whilst they were training, and Doc, what was Doc's last name?
Dr. Dillon.
Doc Dillon said to me, "You're not gonna make my team, but do you want to be the coach? Do you want to be the coach?" And I said, "Yeah, I can be the coach." And that's how my coaching started with North Village. And Dennis, I've coached North Village, Somerset, Devonshire Colts, and a little bit of Crossroads. North Village was so multi-talented. I mean, multi-talented, and the training ground was always full of players because they were so multi-talented, man. Like everybody wanted to get into the starting 11, so that meant that training. I didn't have a problem with training. Sometimes it looked like too many, and we had to create. We had to be very thoughtful as to how I could do a training session with all these guys, because it was always about 15, 16, 17 guys there at the training ground. And everybody worked extremely hard. And those guys that are here tonight will know that Larry was not a big in making substitutes. So they trained extra hard to see if they can get the position and keep it. And they were a good bunch of guys. I've never seen such a good bunch of guys who wanted to train. I heard, was it Randy saying that the rain would come down there, pissed on left, right, and center. Nobody moved from the training ground. You left the training ground soaking wet, but they would never stop. So my goal was really, in all the teams I've coached, my goal was always to win the league. Because I have this thing that anyone can win a cup, but not everybody can win the league. And winning the league means that you're really, really the champs of the season. Because even a team that's like almost dead last can get into a FA game or something like that and win it just one off. That doesn't make them the best team. This team was just super talented. My greatest problem, Dennis, was choosing the 11 for every game. And I think most of these guys would know that when we went on to a winning streak, it was the very sound the team changed. This very sound the starting 11 changed when we got on a winning streak. So the changes came with an injury. Somebody probably couldn't make it, but that was rare because everybody always wants to make it because they want to get a position in the team. So realistically, it was a competition, and the desire to make the starting 11 that kept the training ground always huge. You see some coaches nowadays looking for guys to come training. Shit, sometimes I wish some of those guys didn't come.
For real.
Yeah, could I interject something? I would like to say something. I looked at the training sessions that we had, and when we did train in the rain down there, and I remember going to Somerset one time and it did rain, and because we trained in the rain, not taking nothing from your churches, Dennis, but I believe he beat them 1-0 or 2-1, something like that there.
Yeah.
But it was because how we trained, you know, and like just like Larry said, we were like a family. You know? I mean, North Village was the closest family of a football team you ever want to be with. There was never, it weren't a lot of like what I see now, like, you know, all this altercations and stuff like that. It was never nothing like that. Guys was like, we played for one another. We were like family. And as me coming from Rangers down to play for Village, I was like an adopted son, but I weren't. I was an original after about a year. I became an original North Village. I spent 6 seasons there, and 6 of the best seasons I ever played football was played in North Village.
Well, let me bring in Gumbo, because Gumbo, what was the competition like in training? Because as you've heard these guys talk about, once you get your spot, you don't want to give it up. So clearly, you have to train just as hard as you were playing.
That's correct. We had enough guys down there that we could pick 2 teams. And a matter of fact, that one season we used about, I'd say 30 to 40 players, because we just couldn't field the same team every week because of injuries or sickness or whatever. But like you said, we had to train in order to be able to even be considered to be a starting 11. And as Randy said, we were like a team, like a family, a close-knit family.
Yes.
You know, everything that we did together. After a game, we'll go to Joe Trott's house or on at the old homes in Kirby, and we'll have a constructive criticism. Each time, you know, no matter whether you liked it or not, you were told your faults and you told your strengths.
Yes.
And just moved on, and everybody took it. Either they accepted it or they didn't. But the thing is, they worked at it when we get into the next training session.
And Cal, welcome, being a part of this unit. How special was it for you? Not only did you have, you know, a big contingent of family beside you, but an extended family.
Yeah, Earl. I mean, playing with these guys was a dream. I could tell you, man. Everybody knew kind of like what everybody expected of you. We all trained. We trained hard, and I heard Larry say that even when it was raining, guys would be showing up for training. I mean, I would come home and I'll be kind of angry when it was raining, because I'm thinking maybe training won't be going on. But when I get down the field, it was like 25 guys already there, you know. And I'll say this, man. We kind of knew, for some reason, everybody knew everybody's instinct, and knew exactly how they been playing, how they wanted the ball, where they wanted the ball, and it was just natural. And as Randy said, he came from Rangers, but within not even a season, he was part of the family, man. And I think that made a big difference. I'm telling you, man. And I enjoyed. I mean, I played with Larry, and then Larry became my coach in the national squad. Then Larry became my coach, and the same respect I had for him on the field, I had for him as my coach, man.
Yeah.
And really, he was saying about being substituted. Back in the day, nobody wanted to get substituted. But when you got substituted, you knew that you were not playing well. And when you came off the field, you kind of like said, okay, man, whoever went on to replace me, I just wish them well, man. And that was what we were all about, honestly. One big happy family, man.
Yeah. And last but not least, Punchy, getting into this team. You know, you see your brothers, you see all these guys around. You probably had to work even harder.
Oh, very much so. I was thrust in the team at 16 years old. If I can go back to when I did say this, when I was first got my time out at social club, I always remember Devonshire White. I was shaking like a leaf. Only had 15 minutes, but I had to work hard. I had to play. Yeah, it was really good. But most of all, with the seniority in the team, I was well nurtured, if that makes any sense. You know, it was well nurtured. Not only did they give you advice, but they also played at a high standard that you had to adhere to. And, you know, when you're talking about playing with Gumbo, my brother Cal, Randy, Arthur, Joe, there was a high standard that you had, you just had, and then you had Larry that, you know, and it wasn't easy because also I had to compete against my brothers. So, you're talking about training, you can't show up to training late. I want to be there early. Yeah, coach comes here out. Y'all were already warming up, you know. So yeah, it was really good on my, you know, with North Village when I first was, you know, asked to come and play for the senior team. You know, it was a blessing for me, and I just got better and better. And like I said, you know, with the senior guys, I repeat myself, the senior guys, they nurtured you. They did so many things correct that like it was like babysitting, but they just played. You know, it was really good. It was, which I don't see much of now, but I'm not gonna go on about that. But it was really a time for me and I blossomed. I just grew better and better and better. And I think what Gumbo also said on Monday nights are talking about the game also. Because it used to be heated. It wasn't nice. On Monday nights when we had to sit down and talk, what you didn't do right at the time, remember, because there was no video, there was no cameras and stuff like that. So everybody would remember, yeah, well, what did you do there? Why did you make that? Why do you even cross? Why did your corner score this? So yeah, it was a real good experience for me, really, at such a young age too.
Sure.
I like to say something as well. As a senior player, if you look at the guys like Punchy, Richard, Robert, these guys were exceptional young players. Parks, I watched them come through. They were exceptional. They emulated what we did, but they were exceptional. They were born with a gift, like ball handling and all that deal. And these are the things now I speak loudly about to young players. You got to have ball handlers, guys that can handle the ball. I told my grandson this year, I was very fortunate to have at least eight ball handlers on the pitch. I said to play with a bunch of guys like that is a dream. And you don't see this here much. So when you see the young players when we saw the young players like Punchy, Parks, and Richard and Robert, when they came through, they fitted in. The guys that filtered out, they fitted in like a glove. And senior players like Cal, myself, Joe, and all the rest of us that were there, we encouraged these young, we took them under our wings. So, and Village were always, that standard was always there. As long as I stayed there, and it's actually still there now. But this is what's really missing in a lot of teams today. I don't want to go too far about it, but that's the key of nurturing the young players. And when these the young guys was a treat to play with. They would come on the field, and now I used to do everything they're doing now. I can relax with them. Let the birds. So it's a treat. That's why I always call this team a family. Always been a family too.
Yeah.
When we see each other now, like I see these guys now, I get up like, look at my brothers here. Look at them. These are my family.
And
this is the bond.
right.
This is the bond that we have.
No joke, man.
We're gonna take a quick commercial break. Let me come back. Dennis, you're up.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
And welcome back. Dennis?
Okay, question for Larry, and then I have a question for all the players. Just looking back at that team you had, man, I really can't remember who the goalkeeper was. Was it Reggie? Wasn't Reggie Wilson? Was it?
Yeah.
We had two goalkeepers.
I got the picture up here.
Reggie. We had Reggie at one stage. We had Colin at another stage.
Colin Painter. Okay.
Yeah.
So just thinking back to that team, so you had the keeper, you had Joe Trott, you had Wally, you had the twins, Richard and Robert, you had the Dio brothers, Cal, Punchy, and Parks, you had Gumbo, Arthur, Randy, I believe Bill was playing, Cracks, Robinson was one of the fullbacks. Milworth, my mate, the hench, I call him, right after today. But Larry,
take no prisoners.
that is pure headaches picking an 11 every week. And like Gumbo said, you guys probably could have had two good competitive teams in the same league. That's the question for Larry. Like what was a session like for you guys back then? And a question to the players is because every single player on this cast tonight possessed so much skill that you don't really see a lot today. I like to see players playing with freedom, man. Guys having the ability to take guys on one-on-one and not being afraid to put your foot on the ball. I remember Gumbo playing Devon Chirac against Somerset, and he sent me him crying this night as a spectator. Gumbo ran across like 7 Somerset players and down the western end. I will never forget that in my life. So all you got, the outfield players, like where did that skill come from? I remember Cal hugging that line. Cal used to have white chalk on his bottom of his boot because it's so wide. You know what I mean? Punchy. I used to call Punchy Twinkle Tears. The Punchy had some unbelievable skills. And Randy the same way, man. So Larry first, like, what was a session like? And the players, where did all that skill come from for you guys? Because the skill level was unbelievable from you guys, from Joe Trott and Wally pushing the ball, you guys' legs at the back and all that, and unbelievable, man, unbelievable. I was just taken back by the North Village mentality. So, coach and the players.
Most of the team, 99.9% or maybe 100% of the team were all extremely talented, and they all love to train. We used to do a warm-up, a nice warm-up, and my coaching style was basically coaching these guys for the next game. So when you went out in the field, okay, our coaching for me to coach when we're playing Somerset might be different for coaching drills that we did on the pitch against another team. And so they were so talented that there's a lot of things you didn't have to do. They did them themselves. And what I loved about the team, they were so talented and so disciplined that I just allowed them to, I just picked the team and allowed them to go on the field and play to the best of their ability. And they played as a team, don't get me wrong. But they had freedom. And I think most of them would probably tell you that they never heard, I haven't been like that anyway. They never heard me shouting from the bench. You go ahead, even if you made a mistake, well, I'll correct that at halftime. But they played like they were playing on the training ground. They played with grace and they enjoyed themselves. They did some things that scared the crap out of me, especially Wooly, you know. That'll just pass the ball back to the goalkeeper. He would flick it up and flick it over his head and laugh at the person, and you got people like, and some of them were very funny. You know, Parks would take on somebody and go something like this here. And what can I say? They were easy to train, and I think it's a coach's dream. Dennis, you're a coach. It's a coach's dream when you have that number of players in the training ground every training session.
Yeah.
And like I say, rain, blow, or shine. And they enjoy training sessions because we improvise. I kind of like did a different training session just about every time they train. So they begin to enjoy the training sessions. And when a team starts to enjoy the training sessions, and sometimes I'll sit down on the side and let them go ahead and play. Because they were disciplined enough to handle themselves. And so my greatest challenge, Dennis, was picking the starting 11.
Yeah, I could imagine.
One thing, I want to ask this question while it's fresh in my mind before we go to the players. So, Larry, when did you pick the team? Saturday night, Sunday morning?
No, my teams were chosen on Saturday nights, or thereabouts, because if I was, as you guys know, I was a cop, so I had some night duty sometimes, so I used to go on little patrols to make sure I don't see none of those suckers out. I used to go down through Court Street quite a lot when I was on night duty. I said, wonder if I can see, but they were disciplined. The only person that I ever caught, that was when I was coaching. That was your coach. That was Hubert Douglas. And he was down to play in my team before I saw him coming out of the bar on Court Street. So he became the substitute. He became the substitute at the field. But North Village, man, they were a treat. And I've always loved North Village, actually. And then all the guys became friends because some of them I played with in the national squad.
Right.
Cal and who else was Gumbo? We guys played in the national squad. So from a coach to a player with your players that you coach.
Right.
And then, like I say, even until this very day, we are very, very good friends.
All right, so let's get that second question answered. We'll start with you, Cal. Skill-wise.
I'll say this. Although we most students have a natural talent for football, natural gift, but a lot of it comes from training on your own.
Yeah.
And I think most of us will say that we did a lot of training outside of the regular training sessions. We did a lot of training on our own. You knew your weaknesses. My left foot was like for walking only, but I kind of like knew what I had to do, so I went and I perfected that, and I was able to kick with both feet. And also, growing up with 5 boys in a family, and playing football in the kitchen with a tennis ball. You know, you had to have good ball skills, man. You know what I mean? And sometimes I'll take on all 4 brothers because I was the oldest. But then after you get older, then you say, no, I need you on my side, Sheriff. I need you on my side, Rondo. We're playing against box and punch, you know. But a lot of it was because I think you guys love the game, dedicated to, and also you didn't want to let your players down, you know, your teammates down. So whenever you went on the field, it was 100% of the time. And you did what you could do. And I'll say this, everybody's saying we played a lot of talented players. But I have to say this, Ralph Gumbo Bean, I never said it before, but I'm apologizing to you because I can tell you what, when the chips were down, I'm looking for you, mate. I'm going to bring you up. You're getting the ball, boy, 'cause I know you're gonna
You're trying to set that.
You're trying to set me quiet
right?
again.
Yeah. But if I can, I'm sorry to interrupt, but if I can add, you know, we're talking about today's strategy and all these strategies. But if you North Village school girls from all types of players, like Randy, Gumbo, Cal. There were intricate plays in the box that I see when you watch on TV. Oh, I said, you guys should do that. And then you have the, you know, because Gumbo used to come out with like what, 20 or 30 girls, Larry, I think.
Yeah.
And so and the other thing, Larry, that I want to always remember, you used to make it when we used to have to talk on what was required of the girls' scores. Let's say, for instance, now Castle will get 3 girls or 4 girls. I know Renda's going to get 5 or 6. Gumbo's going to get 20 or so. And then you had Cal's 7 or 8. Then you add my 2. Right? My 2. Yes, my 2. Right? Because I didn't get a lot of those, right? But I think, Larry, we always, you know, editor, we always talk about that. You know, what was required of you. And I'm saying we scored goals from corners, from set pieces, and it was always talked about. But again, it's like when you see a team and you hear the talk shows on the Sky Sports, as Liverpool, whatever, you're like, oh, we guys need to discuss that.
Yeah.
We used to discuss that. And the other point I want to add, Cal, and to Dennis, because with your, you know, I bless you with your what you and Curly Joe is doing. But when you in those years, I remember cricket wasn't in our family that much. Cal played, but all the time we used to go and discuss and play against one another, and how we're going to beat somebody. If you're playing against Hotels, how we're going to beat Andrew Cudwell. If you're playing against Lance Brown and Stel Parks, you go on that side, not me. You take it. Yeah, you take that. But what Randy and again Dennis, we did a lot of stuff, even when it was in the off season. So it wasn't by accident that you saw me do something or you saw Randy, because it was continuous application to that. And I just want to add that about what Dennis says about skill level and what Larry and Conte, because it was always like that. Keep getting better and better and better, which I don't see happening today. I'm only saying that.
Right.
Before we go to Gumbo before we go to Randy, because I'm an advocate for guys doing the extras and putting in the work. Because with the boys I have on Sunday mornings, you know, we're training right up until July the 10th. So, you know, people would say, oh, well, you think they need a break. But to me, in Bermuda, I don't think we play enough and train the basic fundamentals. Because, I mean, ironically, I got about 8 little North Village on the 11th there. And that's the under 11 team that they pushed up to under 13s. And these little boys are jams. You know what I mean? And I'm very impressed with these little boys who are there from North Village. And in a few years, North Village is going to be back where they, I mean, well, behind Somerset where they can be. So Randy could answer the question, and then I'm still mad at Gumbo for going past those 7 Somerset players. So go ahead, Randy.
I would like to talk about when we did win the Triple Crown. One of the games that stand out towards me, the game was out Derbyshire Rec against Hotel. I don't know if you guys remember this, but they came with a plan. Hotels had us, man. They came with a plan. And we guys actually went overtime and we beat them. I said to myself, man, they really had us going. But it took us, because of how we trained, we ended up beating them 2-1 in overtime and getting to the final, the friendship. And there's a lot of things I saw when I was playing for North Village that I sometimes just reminisce. I remember one time we went down there and PAC slammed us on a home run, Dawson Davis. I mean, slammed us 5-0. Do you know the following Sunday we had to play them up PAC in the FA? I couldn't sleep. I just said I can't wait to play these guys Sunday. And then from that game there, everybody was motivated. We went up there, beat them 4-0 after taking a slamming down there 5-0. So playing with North Village was very special, man. Guys didn't hold their head. And I think this is what I try to tell my little grandson. I say, you guys don't have meetings about nothing. We always met, like Cal and these guys said, and Gumbo. We met down there every Monday after a game. And it was constructive criticism. And we all took it, whatever happened. And I think that's very valuable, man. What we're talking about now, it's a lot of it just don't go on no more. And I don't know. I'm just saying, like, now, it's just the thought of what I even watching my national team now. I said, oh man, football is going the wrong direction as far as I'm concerned. So when I see Dennis out there with young players, and when you're talking about young players and you're down to the grassroots, you got to start from somewhere. Because the football has to be revamped again. It has to come up to the level which it was when we guys played. And a lot of that don't seem to be happening now. And but these programs like what you're doing, Dennis, that we need to be doing more of. I'd say, personally right now, as old as I am, I look at young players and I see them, I just see them how they are, and I see the mistakes they make, the bad habits. I corrected why I'm there with them. Like I would go and watch the guy at 6 aside, like Mark would have a 6 aside. I watch guys dribbling to play. I said, no, that's not it. I would stop the game and show them, look, if you play the ball here, boom, boom, and get it here, you always got possession. Just little things like that there is taken away from the game. But I'd like to say it now, looking at, I don't want to go too much, but I'm just to say this here. Joe Trott was like the godfather of the team. I don't know if you guys would agree. I always thought that. Joe Trott was like the godfather of the team, as well as nurturing it from the back and speaking like, when he sees these going wrong, he's just running, just say, look, this and that and that. We can do this here, do that. 2-touch football from here. And that was important. When Larry came there, Larry came to Village. And when he came there, Larry was a good coach doing what he did best. And then from that enhancement, we guys ran along to win the Triple Crown. Hey, before I go, let me show you something. When we played PAC in the FA up the National Stadium, we had dinner. We had breakfast down this place down there across from the driving bank. Used to be a little restaurant there. And man, do you know one of my favorite singers, Billy Paul? He ate lunch because he was doing a show at Roseman. He ate lunch with us and became a lifetime member. Bless his soul now. And he was one of my favorite artists. These are the things I remember playing with North Village. But look, winning the Triple Crown, the work that we put in simply came to fruition with every cup. And I was proud of that. Hey, I just, after that day, I said I played with one of the best teams in the world. Not even in the world. That's how I felt. But look, because you know how I know that team was really good? We played Jamaica national team at National Stadium, and we beat them 4-2.
Right.
And I remember going walking on the field, this Jamaican guy said, hey man, you never beat us, We're a national team, you're a club team. I said, you ain't even seeing us. After the game, I said, what happened, brother? He said, the referee teach 2 goals, man. But you know, I'm just saying that playing with North Village was a treat to me. I mean, literally, my football, when I got with these bunch of guys, when I was getting Cunningham, I couldn't make none of those teams up there. Nowhere near too many good ballers. But when I came out there and I started doing extras and I started doing left ranges and I went play for Village, my football went from there. And that's why I was telling people, play around people that can play football, enhance your football. So I can stop there. You guys can take over now.
And Punchy and Gumbo, because you guys possess so much skill. Punchy wasn't the biggest guy, but I saw Punchy make so many guys look stupid on the pitch. And Gumbo, his ability, because like I said, I'm still mad at you today for going past 7 Somerset players and scoring to hell out the rack.
That's the number.
Yeah, his number.
7 was the number.
So where you guys get that skill from? Like, because it was truly amazing to watch you guys play. When I saw you guys play, Gumbo there and Punchy.
Okay. First of all, the skill level. I was playing with Devonshire Lions at the time. And every single chance we got, we were playing football. Up until midnight some nights, down by the same girl that you were talking about, Dennis.
Whoa.
Underneath those little lights that are on the poles down there. We used to play down there until midnight sometimes. My mom used to have to call me. Say, come on. And that's where I acquired all my close ball control. Because it was so dark down in that area, you had to make sure that you kept the ball to your feet, and in order to distribute it to the person that you wanted to distribute it to. Now the thing is that even when I went to play with Devonshire Colts, I don't know whether Larry knows this or not, but Devonshire Colts was the team that I aspired to play with.
Me too.
I was going to play with Devonshire Colts to start my senior career, and as you know, Frog Lane Field had 2 fields.
That's right.
Yeah. So one, when you come to the gate, there was one field, and then you had to walk across to get to the other field. North Village was training on the first field. Devonshire Colts was training on the other field, and before I could even reach over the house, Joe and Sam stopped me, and they asked me, what you doing? Where you going? I said, I'm going to play for Devonshire Colts. He said, you sure? He said, look, man, you can stay here. We can use you playing her.
Whoa.
So I decided, okay, I'll try the training session over with them, and that's the same year I believe Randy joined.
Same year.
Same year. Randy.
I went join Colts too.
And guess what? That was
before you. I got back before you did.
that was the best choice I ever made, I think.
Yeah.
Because like everybody's been saying, we just blended. We became a tight-knit group, and we played for each other. And one thing I was talking about, where you acquired the skills. I don't know if Randy and these guys remember this, but towards the end of every training session at Frog Lane Field, just before we were finishing up, I would just take the ball and start dribbling with it.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to keep it away from anybody who tried to get it, even my own players. I used to try to do that. So, and as long as I could keep the ball, that was my sort of end of training session. I used to do that every time. And
yes.
I acquired a lot of my ball handling and skill. But also on that note, Dennis, when you were talking about the game of Devin Charette, there was one fan in particular. Every time I saw him, he would talk to me about that game of Devin Charette. He said he was up on the bench, and he would just watch me. I picked up the ball, and he said the ball was going straight. And guys were just falling down. And
that was crazy, man.
Oh, it was a direct path to the goal. And guys were just falling. And he said, when I started the ball home, he said, even the Somerset fans up there started screaming and shouting.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Crazy.
What can I say? I never saw it because, like, we never had any videos or that.
Yeah.
But that's where I got a lot of my skills playing with guys like Dago and Donnie Hill and Bobby Martin. That's where we got playing down on that field.
Punchy?
Yeah, it was.
See where that skill come from.
A lot of work and a lot of over my brothers because we grew up on North in Roberts Avenue and Glebe Road. And I can tell you right now, the 10 on 10 in a little small space, mate. 5 feet wide, maybe 8 feet long, and 2 girls. And it'd be all football.
Yeah.
And with no high balls, you better have some skill.
Yeah.
And you better show something. And there was no mercy. And if you weren't that good on your skill level, then people were laughing at you like, yeah, you know. But you know, it was always a lot of work. The skill is not developed. The skill is, you know, the skill that people used to see me at, and my brother Parks, and it was a lot of attention that we did so much work off the field. So, you know, even in off season, like I said, me and Parks and the guys go to practice so much. And Parks, I used to cheat. Parks would show me some tricks. And I know Larry favors Parks. Like, I always go to Parks and I know that. You know that. You know that. I know that, Larry. You're going to take the ball. But I don't know. That's why I used to kick him in those sessions. I used to kick him. Yeah. He didn't get a pick for me. But a lot of times, so when people say, oh, you was the trickiest guy, but it was practice over and over again. So by the time I came to training session, I'd do that with something. And you're like, oh, that just happened. No, it didn't happen by accident. It was practice, practice, practice. And then getting back to playing against so many guys, like Gumbo was saying against Dago and those guys in the off season, right? You know, Dennis, but you don't see again, Randy and Skip knows about that. All the kicks we have. You're playing against Dago, you're playing against all these guys, all players. Yeah, on the kickabout, you better have some skill. So it was a lot of hard, it was a lot of work, and we had plenty, you know. So you know, it was very. But the other thing about that, nurturing that skill, nurturing, so it didn't look like a clown. You know, it added to the team's quality, and that's what I figured it was about. Learn what you add to the team, and that's, you know, like I said, playing with Gumbo, Randy, my brother Cal, even my brother Skip. You know, you go on the line with the senior guy, and then when you weren't doing right, they'll let you know. They will let you know. Yeah, and they gave you your time. They gave you time to, like, hey, yo, Sean, your time. Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead. But again, you know, I can always say that I was, you know, with the era. And what it was, when people say that, I say, well, you guys should know who taught me, what I learned. And again, to you, kudos to you too, Larry. You know, just fine-tuning us. Just fine-tuning us. And it was good. And Gumbo, again, I've ran many miles, 3-on-1, and you still won't pass the ball to us. And you, but I'm seeing remarkable goals. I said, Lord, man.
You said he had to get training. You only had to get 2.
I only had to get 2. He said, I said 3-on-1. You can't pass me the ball. No, I'm gonna leave. So anyway, man, it was a joy. You know, but again, getting back to all when people see us, it was so much into it. It wasn't just like we just came and showed up. You know, training in the rain. And it was hard work. It was hard work. It was dedication. And I think we guys didn't even realize that we had a purpose. I just think we just had a more purpose. And the more we talked about it, the purpose became even more like real. Real. And then you look at the amount of players from North Village that went into the national program, all of that, you know?
Right.
And so it was for me, which was a good learning curve, good coaching, good organization, and good senior guys that just nurtured you. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I'm sure Dennis, again, adding to that, you know, my brother Cal, my brother Skip, you know, Larry and Randy, again, and Gumbo and Joe Trott, who just nurtured that talent. And wasn't no showing off, trust me.
No
touch.
Hey,
So a question to you.
What we're going to do,
Yeah,
we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to get Shervin into the conversation.
Yes.
Okay.
Here with us. We'll be right back.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, you know, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Welcome back.
Before you get to Shervin, I just like to say something before the moment leaves my mind. I remember when Gumbo would run down there, and if he dropped the shield on somebody, right, and if they ended up going that way, he said, "Ran, who called that guy?" And he goes straight with the ball. Just one fluid body swerve. Hey, Ran, who called him? I said, "I don't think he's getting wrong, man." But there's really fun time. There's the things we have fun doing. Okay, Skip, you.
Well, good evening, Chairman. Welcome to the show. Just listening to some of the things that these guys have been talking about. What was it like for you during that time being involved with a team that had a family bond, had so much going for it?
Well, first of all, it was pretty heartbreaking, man. I couldn't make the team.
You take someone out.
I tried, but there's too good for me too, man. But it was some of the best times of my life, and that was a team that was not only teammates on the field, they were teammates off the field.
Yeah,
and they all did the extras, and as everyone has said, we had 8 guys that was national team standard, national team players. And we had such a run and such a rich history with those team members that we were like the Invincibles, as Randy has said. we were beating teams like Jamaica, but it was a great team. And I have a question for Cal, and I have a question for Larry. The first question would be to Larry is, you had a massive problem at North Village Community Club when you came over, sir. And I just wonder, with such a selection squad, how you managed to have to pick between brothers and cousins and some of the best of the best. How did you manage to instill the camaraderie? Because in today's football, the youngsters, if they're not getting picked, they don't want to play no more, even if you miss one game.
Yeah.
But you kept us all so competitive, whereas we couldn't wait to get on that field and shine. So how was it for you as the coach?
I think one of my most difficult periods was always the starting 11. And if those guys will remember, that's the reason why the starting 11s never changed too much. Because if you're winning the game, you would find, if you went through the records, you will find that once we got into a winning streak, the starting 11 very, very seldom changed. But that was my most difficult thing. The training sessions were excellent. And it was hard to pick a team. Because everybody, it's easy to pick a team these days because you can not pick the guy that doesn't train that often. But it was so hard with North Village because unless somebody was sick, North Village had a heavy training ground every training session. And so with me, it was about discipline. Those guys know about discipline. If you can't train, you can't play. If you come late, you sit on the side. But once we got going, Sheriff, I very seldom changed the starting 11 unless there was an injury. I didn't even change the starting 11 if a guy had a bad game, because bad games come upon everybody. So you had a bad game today, I'm not gonna drop you next week because you had a bad game today. You come back next week and beat up everybody yourself. So a lot of coaches don't do that these days. A lot of coaches have a different team every week. So you're not really gelling. And
That's right.
It was
That's
easy.
That's a fact.
It was easy for North Village because they trained so damn hard. Everybody was always at training. So it was not a problem in the pre-game talk how to win the match because everybody was there. Even the substitutes were there. Even if the guys didn't make the team sheet, they would be around the team when I was given the instructions for a game. And the other thing about North Village, the strength about North Village, was the fact that they were so multi-talented that I didn't have no restrictions. Once you hit the field, you guys are on your own. I don't have to shout at you because we did it in the training session, and they did some things that was not even in the training session. It always worked. And so, in my opinion, at one stage we just became unbeatable, and I got a bit cocky too. You know what I mean? Nobody can beat us.
So Shervin, so I've heard everybody talk about the numbers in training. Tell us how competitive these sessions were, because I mean, I remember playing in my time at Somerset, we used to have 11v11.
Yeah.
Guys used to get teeth knocked out and all that. How competitive were you guys sessions on a nightly basis?
Well, Dennis, I can tell you, it was extremely competitive on a nightly basis. And I can remember players like Cracks Robinson.
Oh, well, yeah, I remember Cracks.
Cracks had a pair of boots that had iron studs on them.
Yeah.
And he used to bring him he's a trainer.
Look, you don't care how hard the field was, right? When we be coming out of the dressing room, all you hear is clank, clank, clank.
Hey, Sharon, I like to add to that. I remember Bill Toe was giving Bill a nightmare.
Yeah.
Toe deal. Crack said switch. Hey, one fluid move on Toe bite, it was over. And I said, Crack, you're playing hard stunts. Toe had marks getting on his leg like it's here, man. He wasn't going to do it after that.
Yeah, sure.
But the point is that how we train is how we play. You know, we used to have to run from cracks. We used to have to jump from cracks and train it. So it was like that with all of us. So it was very, very competitive. But you know what? When it came to game time, again, it's almost like we turned it up and went to a next. Okay,
Another level.
So guys, answer this question, because sometimes my mouth gets me in trouble sometimes. So I'm looking at yesterday and today, and like Shervin said earlier, these young guys who are coming here nowadays are reluctant to put the time in. They want it now. Like, they're not prepared to sit on the bench and make the turn and then come in. These little guys nowadays think just because they're training with the senior team that they have a right to be playing, and a lot of them are not patient enough to get in when they're ready. So how do we change that mindset? Because it's like, it boggles my mind to see that a little young guy coming in who is not willing and humble enough to sit on the bench a couple of games. Like Shervin said, a guy will sit on the bench one game and they're going to miss him for the rest of the season. So how do we change that mindset of today's player to make your turn and then get in and prove yourself when you get in?
Dennis, I think that, and that's a very good question. In today's game, I would like, because you can have 5 subs these days, right?
Yeah, no, you can.
You can have 5 subs. In today's game, it's easier to get players involved in the game, depending on how the game is going. Like if I really coach today, and I have 5 subs, depending on my game, if I'm winning the game reasonably comfortable in the second half, everybody's going to play, and so it'll keep them motivated. So sometimes I think I could blame it on coaches from time to time that they just will not change, even if they're winning 10-0, they just will not give this. And you've got 5 subs these days. Let them get in, and even if they're playing, sometimes these guys would just like to play 10 minutes.
Yeah. Hey, could I add to that? The other thing you have to recognize is this year, you're not only coaching players that are talented, you got to coach personalities. There's so many personalities that we have now, and when you talk to the youth nowadays, is they want to do it immediately. That structure there has to be actually enforced by discipline. Otherwise than that, it's just gonna be, if I don't play, I leave. Then what you got to do, you got to use the elite that is around you, and whatever you got around, you got to train it. Because otherwise than that, all I see is you can't. What happened to these youth here? They figure that if I ain't playing, if I'm training and I'm not picked, then I'm quitting. Because then we had to use illustrations. Like I remember Dirk, because Dirk went to the same school like that. We went Glebe together. He was beyond classes beyond me, and he was so good of a footballer that even when I played with Glebe, I told the headmaster I got to take him to play with him for the A team, but he's playing in the B. But when he went Somerset, He sat for almost a year before he got his chance. And when he did get his chance, he shined all the way through. Now, it's illustrations like that there that we have to put forward to young players. Where we have to go back in time and show them how come this guy became great. It's because he waited his time and he was disciplined enough to wait his time and say to himself, I am going to make it. You know what I mean?
But
It
Randy,
needs
the
that
other thing
conversation.
is,
You need that
Randy-
conversation.
Randy, the other thing is the love of the player for the club that they play with. North Village North Village players had the love of North Village. Whether they sat on the bench for Hill Steers or not, it was the love of
That's
North
right.
Village.
Yeah.
And so I never had a problem with people fussing about not being able to get on the field. Those guys even just love to be at the game to watch the other guys play. But at training day, they still work their ass off in training sessions. Because
And that was a catch, Coach.
They wanted to make that team.
That was a question that I hear, right, for everybody.
Yeah.
And I want you guys to answer this. I know what it felt for me to play for Somerset.
Yes.
I want to know what it meant for you guys to play for North Village. What it really meant for you guys. And Larry could answer at the end what it meant for him to coach North Village. But I want to know from you guys, starting with Shervin, what did it mean to you to play for North Village, play for that crest?
Go on mute, Shervin.
It was life. That was, I didn't think of anything else besides football in my junior years, my primary years, and I started playing for North Village 12 years old under Doc Derlin. And I always had my hero, my brother Cal and Joe Trott and Boxhead, Jack and those guys that I looked up to. And it was a dream of mine to play senior football for North Village Community Club. It's almost, well, it's like and more like, you know, your Somerset or St. George's for Cup match. And it was in your heart of hearts, and it was a family. We had traditions of families. Today we've got 4 different eras of remains in the team, and we're going to be celebrating 65 years of existence this year in October.
Hey.
Wow.
And you got people like Boxhead Remain, that was the first captain, and he's got his great nephews that are playing today. You know, you got Jack Remain and Jack's By and now Irvin's son. So I'm saying that to say that it was generations of us that have come up through North Village. It's been our life. Like I said, my hero is my brother Cal Deal from the beginning. But we were open for players like Gumbo and Randy and John Tucker and Sam. They weren't from North Village initially, you know, but they brought quality to the team. And bringing quality to the team, it wasn't as though they were pushing out North Village players. It's like they were enhancing North Village. Joe Trott had an eye for good players, and he did coerce these guys to come over. You know, Joe Trott was the big man at North Village, and still, still is. He's a big man. Still is today. But I'm saying we made space reluctantly for players like Gumbo and Randy because they brought something in addition to what we had. That mentality today is different. There's a mentality today that because I'm in North Village all my life, I desire preference over you, or you.
Yeah.
My brothers, I know for sure, my brothers, Cal, Punchy, and Parks used to have to compete against each other for the same position to play for the national team. Cal's the longest serving, and Parks played over Punchy on many occasions. But my point is that
don't take it personal, Punchy.
my point is that this is a game where you have to compete to play. The best players deserve to play, long as they are
Yeah.
honoring the commitment of training and everything else that the club has expectations for you to do to keep the club in good stead. You know.
Right. I like to interject again one more time.
Sure. Yeah.
And this is, I remember playing for North Village. When it got to the big games, I never played in a crowd, like, such a great crowd. I remember when North Village played Devonshire Coast at the stadium. And as you came walking out on the pitch, I never played in the amount of people that I saw around there. So I started getting these butterflies. Walking out on the pitch is the most beautiful thing you ever want to see. In back of Village, you saw orange and white. And back of Coastville, all you saw red and white. And when the game kicked over, it was the most beautiful game you ever want to watch. And to play in a game like that there, and then after, especially when we won, after coming off the field, you say to yourself, you're playing for one of the greatest teams in the island. And to me, playing for North Village was all of that to me. Even though, like, I came from Rangers. I spent 6 years with North Village, 6 straight seasons, and I enjoyed every minute of that year. And the reward of winning the Triple Crown, then winning the league prior to after that, it was a treat. And I could say to my brothers of North Village, job well done.
Gumbo, what was it like for you to represent North Village?
For me to represent North Villages was a sense of pride, which I think is lacking a lot in today's game. Yeah, you have to be proud of the team that you're playing for, because we never had a real home field as such. We will be at one field this season and another field at the next season, but that would be called our home field.
Yes.
And whenever we went and played on our so-called home field, whatever teams coming to play us, they better bring the A game. because we were so proud that I don't care where you come from or what field we're playing on. We were so proud that you have to make sure that you came with a game plan in order to beat us. And the thing is, we're not going to just lay down for you. We're not going to just sit back and say, oh, this team's coming down here to take 3 points from us. How does that sound? That doesn't even sound right. Yeah, because sense of pride. You have to have that sense of pride. And the thing is, it's not all glamour. I remember when Randy, Cal, these guys used to come off the field with white shorts looking brown, or white jerseys looking brown because of the way how they're playing so hard. And the thing is, once you saw that, it filtered right through to the rest of the team. Because if you can have a couple of guys playing that hard, that means you have to play just as hard. And Larry, you were one of the players that I wanted to go play with, because I saw you guys sense of pride at Devonshire Coast.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? And I want to be a part of that. But like I said before, the choice that I made to play with North Village was the best choice I ever made. Because now I know, hindsight, I know that I made the right decision because of all the camaraderie that we had, all the friendships that we had, all the friendships that we built, and we still have them today.
Yes.
And this is what is missing today as well.
Yeah.
Guys can't even go to another team and have a social evening with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what's missing in our game today. There's too much animosity towards each other, and you're all buddies, or really, or you're all cousins or whatever. So let's do it on the field, but off the field, we're going to take the boxing gloves off.
Yeah.
Cal, what was it like for you to represent North Village?
Oh man, I tell you what, Dennis. Growing up in Roberts Avenue, Glebe Road, I came up under players like Jack Romaine, Buckhead, Randall Stubbsy Hustle, and they were my idols, and it was like a family affair. And North Village was all I ever thought about. I mean, I heard about other teams, and back in the day, Pembroke Juniors, Dock Hill Rangers. North Village was who I wanted to play for. I never lost sight of that. And when I got the opportunity to put that jersey on, that was it for
Yeah.
me. That was it for me. And I mean, it was like, honestly, and never, we never like to lose. Don't like to lose. If I lost a game on a Sunday, nobody could speak to me until Monday or Tuesday, man, because I'm not talking. And
Yeah.
my brother will tell you, this is not it. And it was, for me, it was an honor. And even to this day, people look at me and say, North Village, and North Village is synonymous with Deal, Bean, Jennings, Randy
Yes.
Bean, all the boys,
Yes,
man.
sir.
So that was like, for me, it was an honor. And I never thought about really playing for anybody else. No. I knew that once I stopped playing football, that would be it.
Yeah.
That was it. And for me, that was it, man.
I would just like to say one more thing. Me and Gumbo was reminiscing about the game one time, and I'll let Gumbo tell you about this one here when we played St. George's down there. Remember we was talking about it, Ralphie?
Yep.
Remember Dave was playing goalkeeper?
Yeah,
Dave
yep.
Rolston was playing goalkeeper. Let Gumbo tell you about this one.
You're talking about Dave Rolston.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, that was the game that they actually clinched the league title.
Yeah.
And we just about won the game. And St. George's were playing short.
Yeah, tell him how you got the girl.
And Dave Rolston was one of the top outfield players, and he had to go and go. So Dave went and go, and here we are. We were bombarding St. George's goal, and we just couldn't score. The ball was hitting his foot and going over the top, or last the ball would go over the goalpost or what, and we just couldn't score. Then finally, we had a little. I miskicked the ball actually, and it started bubbling towards the goal and went in the goal. That's how we won 1-0. And that was the one to clinch the league title.
Whoa.
Miskicked the ball, yeah, I didn't kick it. But it just bubbled over the line, and that was it. That was probably one of the highlights of my career with North Village, except for the game against Shrek.
Yeah.
Cal, I have a question for Cal.
Yeah.
As has been said, it was very, very competitive at North Village. We had Gumbo and Mal on the same team. Cal, Parks, Punchy, myself, Richard, Robert. We had so much competitive. Now, leading up to the Triple Crown Championship, the FA. Cal, you didn't play in the FA Cup Finals.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I know it's because you got injured. And can you tell us the story about the game before that I believe you won for us, and what we did during the game and what Parks did after the game? I think it's a great story.
Yeah. I mean, I played the whole season, and without any injuries. The Sunday before that, we played the friendship final, and I think we beat, was it Rangers?
Rangers walked off the Rangers, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's when they
And
walked
then-
off the field.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, remember that.
And in fact, I was going to bring that up about games I played, significant games. Anyhow, the following week in training, I don't know, I pulled a cartilage in my knee, stretched my cartilage in my knee. So I was not able to play in the FA Cup final on the Sunday. And Parks was played in my place. We actually ended up winning that FA Cup final. And of course, during the day, back in the day, the medals were given to the players that played and substitutes. And I tell you what, brought tears to my eyes. Parks on that day received the medal and took it and gave it to me.
His older brother.
Because I think I scored a goal in the semifinals. And you got us this far. You deserve this more than me. That was one of the things. I mean, that's my brother. But that was like, that permeated throughout the whole team. And you know what I mean?
Mm.
And so that meant a whole lot to me. In fact, I still have that medal, man. And that's, 40 years ago now? More than that. But yeah, that was very significant, man. Yeah.
That's really nice. So who did you play in that FA Cup final?
I think it was
PHC.
PHC. Okay.
PHC. And
Yeah,
if I may Gumbo, because that was a game that Mel Bean came on.
Yeah, scored two.
Gumbo, how did you
3-1?
feel?
Was it
And
3-1?
just give us a little reminiscent of that FA Cup final and when your brother came on.
Sharon, you put me on the spot. It's a lot of games that I played in, and I just can't remember any of them. I'm serious. I mean,
I bet your opponents do.
Look, there are guys that Joe would remember who he played against, what he looked like. I can't remember anybody that I played against, especially if it's an international game.
Right.
Local game, yes, I can remember some of the guys that I played against, but the actual game itself, I can't remember a lot of those games.
Right. I have a short memory of it. I think Mal was just 16, and he came on in overtime, and he scored both of the goals that won the game.
That was a 3-1 game?
Yeah.
He won 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah. Because I remember Claude Wright betting on the game $3,000, and then James Pankton scored. He fainted. That's how come I remember Mal scoring the goal, because the game went overtime. Because you remember when they brought James back, right? James Pankton was that the game that they brought him back and he scored, made it 1-0.
Yep, that's the game.
And then it went overtime, and Mal came on, but Mal had a size 12 boot. I never even miss. Nothing that ball dropped outside that ball. Bam, bam.
Guys, was that the game that we went into extra time and I substituted Gumbo and brought on Mal?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
That's right too. Yeah.
I remember that.
Remember that?
I remember that. You know why I remember that? Because the bloody spectators are asking, "What the hell am I doing?"
I could imagine.
and like I said, sometimes you gotta take gambles. And that boy went on the field and he scored 2 goals. And I said, "Damn, the greatest substitute I've ever been."
2 buttes.
Whoa.
Yeah, he played. That's what I like about him. As talented as he was very patient with getting into the team.
Yeah.
Yep.
And not only him, everybody was patient getting into that team.
Yeah.
And once, like Parks, I would have liked to play at Parks every week, but the team was so strong.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. Coach, I can tell you now, I'll be hurting. My ankle be hurting, but I'm going training, man. I'm not even letting Harry see me training. No, sir. I won't be lifting weight.
Yep,
You won't be talking about dropping me, man. All day. Come back home after training, put ice on it. I'm getting ready for Sunday, man.
And not only that, you know what I like about Cal? Cal used to pace go across guys like their stop signs. He used to sweep me by. I said, I can get the ball to Cal on that left end and watching the right end, watching. His game across this guy like it's a stop sign. Zing! Can't stop it. cross, give him a nice cross here, man. Beautiful.
I've never seen, but all the guys were fit, right? But I've never seen anybody like Cal. He's like the freaking Energizer Bunny.
Pace,
He just
baby,
run,
pace.
run, and run. And then we become even better friends because we end up in the national team together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Larry, you didn't answer Dennis's question of what was it like to coach North Village?
It was a coach's dream, really.
T. Becky, take this off of you, Larry.
It was a coach's dream. I mean, when Doc Dillon told me, you're not going to make the team. And you know how Doc was, straight up.
Yep, straight up.
He says, you're not going to make this team, but you can coach it. I said, you serious? And from that day forward, it was all about coaching North Village. And coaching North Village, and you didn't have to do a lot, man. That's the reason why it's Somerset was a good team as well. But North Village had about 20 very talented players.
Yeah.
And that made life a challenge, my coaching a challenge. You got to put this, it was so difficult to choose, Earl, a team. So I said to myself, okay, the easiest way out of this here, if they're winning, I'm not going to change the team. So that's easy.
Smart decision.
And those guys didn't have a problem with it, you know. You know how I think somebody said it earlier. Dennis talked earlier about the young players that wouldn't come back to train after that. No, man. You know, it was almost like they're all dare me. I don't care what you do. You're gonna put me in this damn team at some stage because I'm not gonna stop training. And that made life even more difficult, a greater challenge.
Yes, yeah.
But the team was naturally talented, and the reason is because we did a lot of ball work. And a lot of our training sessions, Randy, if you guys can remember, it was like you have to keep the ball 5 times before you get a goal.
Yeah.
You have to keep the ball 5 times before you can even shoot at the goal. And so that enhanced Northland's ability to keep possession of the football.
Exactly. And I often remember when Joe Trott, when Willie first came and he's a young player, do you know where he took him? He took him in, the sand trap where they used to run, where they were jumping, where they jump in the sand.
Long
jump pit. He used to take him in the long jump pit and show the ball up and let him go up and head the ball. Do it for hours, man. But after a while, man, them two perfected that so good, man. You know what I mean? That's where I saw it. That's where I think Dennis emulated. You know what I'm saying? Because Dennis was just like them guy. He was a good center half. And these two guys were actually good center half.
Yeah, I looked up to this.
And you know what I'm saying? And this is the type of training we did. Joe had him in the
pit.
In the sand, going up. And jumping in the sand is far different than jumping on the ground itself. So all that enhanced everything, like heading the ball and things like that. Woody, like you said, Larry would tell you, Woody bring the ball down on the chest, make the ball.
Man, that guy is
let me just
Ralphie, that guy used to frighten me, boy. I mean, Dennis, you got about 2 or 3. We're facing a counterattack. And the ball's going to Willie, and instead of just passing back to the keeper, and then flick it on his knee, and then flick it up the guy's head. I said, oh my God.
He had his confidence in himself, man.
He was special, man.
Special, yeah.
He was special.
And then as time went by, after coaching Somerset, I used to sit down sometimes and pick my best team. And I said, man, look at Joe, Wooly, and Dennis. Where the hell am I going to play them? Because the 3 of them have to play.
You have to play three at the back. You have to play three at the
That's
back.
it.
I said, Dennis, I used to say it all the time, though, where the hell did I play them? Because the threes got to play. I didn't think of no fullbacks at the time. All I was thinking about the center back. And I said, they had to play. So I might have to put Dennis in front of Wooly and Joe. He'll just be
The sweeper.
the sweep, or put him behind those two and let him be the sweeper. But it's almost like because the teams were so talented at that time.
And plus, you know, them guys read the game good, Joe.
Man,
you guys just read the game. Because y'all, if you look at the center half, down there, they can see in front of them. And they can read the game. Like, and Joe, and I know that Woody and Joe was like that. I knew Dennis was like that. I watched him play too. Had that same mentality. Read the game. You know what I'm saying? It's important.
That's what makes coaching. That's what makes coaching easy.
Yeah.
Because at North Village, I didn't have to give instructions. Joe Trott or Willie gave the instructions. At Somerset, I didn't have to give the instruction. Dennis was the coach on the field, and what a coach on the field because he cursed. I didn't use a cursor, or Dennis would take care of that for me.
Funny enough, he's the only one that cursed tonight.
Y'all the cursing boy.
And he
Best years ever.
And as a skipper, you know, people don't choose their skippers right these days. You know, as a skipper, that guy was the coach. I didn't have to. That's the reason why I didn't have to give instructions from the bench. He gave the instructions from the bench in Somerset, and Joe Trott gave the instructions on the field for North Village. Half time, all I had to do is say one or two words, and we're back on the field.
Absolutely.
And so,
my last question, Earl.
To answer the question, Earl, I got a breakthrough Doc Dillon, and I ended up coaching the best team in the island.
Yeah.
I heard that. Final question, Dennis?
So my last question is, how do we, or what do you recommend, or how do you recommend that we get football back to where it can be domestically? And I wasn't too happy with what I saw with the national team a few weeks ago. If I'm honest, I'll praise you when you're doing good, and I'll also let you know when you're not doing so good. I wasn't really happy with what I saw in the last couple of games. So how do we pick ourselves up nationally, internationally, and also at the local level? How do we do that? That's my last question.
Well, you know, Bermuda has gone to this coaching certificates and things of that nature, but not. You know, I often think of a coaching certificate. They're placing so much emphasis on certificates. I equate it this way: not everybody who has a license knows how to drive. You know, people still crash.
That's right. True.
And they got licenses. I feel the same way because I'm also a coach at SASA. I feel the same way with a lot of these guys that have got these licenses and B licenses, etc. You know, some of them are not even coaching, but they have a license. So I think we have to cause coaches to don't worry about just the license. Worry about how to coach the team. And I think even some of the younger coaches, Dennis, I think they need a mentor beside them. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of teams right now, Christ, I've had so many blasted. Now that everybody knows that Scott is going to be in Somerset, I've had so many offers, and I said I can't coach everybody. In fact, I don't want to coach everybody. But you know, people are looking for someone to be around them. You don't even have to do anything. They just want you to be around them to help them to develop in their coaching skills.
Mm.
And so I think that's where we need to go. The Dennis Browns of the world need to be around to help to develop somebody. And because just these courses are not making it. That's my opinion. These courses are just not making it.
The other thing we have to recognize, the other things we have to recognize too is a lot of social issues in this island. You know, and it's a tribute to a lot of things that are supposed to be with football, like social issues that happen. Guys can't go in this parish and play, and can't go to that. And if this is not be addressed, then what we can have is we can have a situation where it's in this year would dwindle, and we're only an island of 22 square miles. So this issue has to be really addressed, because and then it's the grassroots. If you don't start with the grassroots, like I said, what you're doing now, it's got to be more of it. You know, we got to look at Sheriff. I know Sheriff with Village has always had a program around here. I think the clubs had to get back to these programs at the grassroots. Even though these issues are there, we need to put something in place so we can help this here. This is my opinion of it.
Okay, Earl and Dennis, I have just a thought came to my mind. I believe that since Dennis has brought it up, one of your programs should involve presidents of clubs, if it hasn't happened already, and one of your programs should involve some senior coaches as to how we can get the younger coaches better prepared, and how can we challenge these young boys and, well, let's say girls as well, to not only be good footballers but to be better citizens.
Yeah.
I'm to be honest with you guys, I'm getting sick and tired of seeing these little black guys killing these little black guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it hurts my heart every time I look at the newspaper and somebody else been hurt or stay up or whatever the case may be. What has happened to us?
Yeah.
And football used to be our salvation at one stage.
Exactly.
Yep.
So maybe there's something that us have to sit down and think about.
Yep.
And try to get it out to the public.
We have to take the lead.
Yeah.
So, Sharvin, how do we improve the product? Last question to you, Cal, and then Gumbo. How do we improve the product?
Can I unmute, Sharvin?
It has to start with, firstly, having a reflection of the past. And you know, I don't like sometimes when people say, well, you know, football back in the day was this and compared to today. But the reality of it, we have to look at what brought success. And it started at the national team, you know.
Yeah.
National pride, because
yes,
at the national level, we were on par with the likes of Mexico, the United States, Canada.
Absolutely.
Jamaica, and these countries have left us so far behind because their programs, their development programs, have been such that they've invested in the country. They've invested in the sport.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, we lag behind, so we gotta get back to investing into the country, investing into the sport. We had $15 million donated at one stage when Dr. Brown was here, and all of a sudden it disappeared. But development is first, and we've got to look to collaborate collectively to deal with this antisocial behavior, because it's put a blemish. It's put a blemish on the game. And
very much so.
We get blamed a lot for stuff that we're not responsible for. So I'm working with groups and the club presidents to get involved collaboratively with other organizations to deal with antisocial behavior. You might know of the March and Father's Day and the efforts that the clubs are making where we're all on one team and where we're planting trees. Anything that's gonna say something significant to say, look, we're trying, because we've been sitting on our backside for too long. And it's just been happening all around us. So we've got to come back to antisocial behavior, because quite
Exactly.
frankly, I don't blame the spectators for not coming out today. I don't. And we have to find a way to make it a safer environment.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
But we have to leave from the top, from the national team down. It's got to filter. You got to be proud to play for that national team, but earn your spot. And at North Village, I'm saying that my Premier team has got to lead the way, not the juniors leading the
Right.
way.
Yes.
That's right.
The
That's
Premier
right. That's
team's
right.
got to lead the way. So administratively, we've got to make sure that we're taking care of them, that we're providing the opportunities and the tools for them to be the best that they can be, and let it filter on down. That's how I came up. That worked for North Village, and that's why we're still in existence today with the development program. Develop, develop.
Yep. You guys are a good example.
Gumbo, how
Yeah.
do we? Or Cal, then
Yeah.
Gumbo finished
But
last.
my thing is really, like, we're having this dialogue tonight amongst our senior players. We need to be able to do this to the younger players,
Yeah.
because I mean, Randy, Gumbo, I guarantee you, a lot of these players that are playing today, they might have heard of your name, but don't know you. Don't know what what you've done on the football field or off the football field. And I feel that and it really kind of starts from the family, the home.
Yeah.
Where you show support for I'm talking about the younger players, because I mean, I'm not saying we lost a generation of footballers, but I go to see a lot of like my grandson plays, key players for North Villages under 11, under 13s, and I watch him play, and I see a commitment at that level, at that young age. They feel pride playing, and I think it's when they get a bit like 15 and 16, they start going somewhere else, and I think we have to take a more conscious effort to try and communicate with them.
Yeah.
Even if we have to tell them what we done in the past.
Yeah.
I'll give you a little example. My grandson Saki, but 2 years ago, begged me come to see him. Well, I used to go see him anyhow, playing football on Saturday morning. So I went to see him play, and
Which
he
is
was
important,
playing pretty good. Nothing brilliant, and he was playing good, but hey, his attitude was like, I don't like his attitude. If somebody made a bad pass, or he made a bad pass, and he didn't kind of fight to win the ball back. So at the end of the game, and he scored 2 goals, and he came to me and he said, "Hey, Papa, how did I play?" I said, "Out of a scale of 1 to 10, you were a 3." Honestly, guys, I'll tell you what, the look on his face, because he thought he was like a 7 or 8. It was like, oh my goodness. And I mean, that was 1 week. The very next week, honestly, I'm telling you no lie, I went down to see him play, and I told him what his faults were.
Yeah, that's it.
Hanging his head down when his player made a bad pass, not coming back to challenge for the ball. To the next week,
Yeah.
I tell you no lie, and I told him what he was doing wrong. The next week, he came up the field and asked me what was it, and it was an 8.
10. Yes,
8 out of 10, man. I'm gonna tell you. And after that, 8. I had no problem with him. But I'm just
That's
saying
it. That's key.
we need to try, and I mean, because it was natural for us. It was natural for us. I'm North Village, wherever, I'm gonna play for that team for that. The younger players now, they're not as dedicated, but they need the guidance, and that's all I'm saying.
Yes.
That's the way we're gonna get back, man. I'm telling
Now
you.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gumbo?
Yeah. I think to piggyback on what Cal was saying, I think that the players of today, they have to realize what their capabilities are, because so many of them once they make the club team, they think it's all done. They think they've conquered all, but they need to be able to realize, or somebody's got to show them that is not finished. Because as
Yeah.
long as you're playing football, you got to improve every time you play, from one season
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
next.
Yeah.
And I could look at a few players in teams today, and you see them playing like three seasons, and you haven't seen a marked improvement. So we have to make sure that these guys have the strengths and the weaknesses sorted out, so that
Yeah.
every year to see that they're improving. At the end, once they improve, then they got to realize that, okay, I want to play for the national team.
Mm.
And the thing is, once they get on the national team, they cannot drop the standard. It's
That's
hard.
what it's more higher.
It's harder to stay on top than it is to get on top.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So many people, so many young guys today, they get people who are praising them up. Oh, this guy's good and this guy's that good. But they have to realize that they look at themselves and analyze the earned game to see whether you're playing well or not. Because I can remember when I was coming up, and I might score a goal or two for the team on Sunday, and I'll come off the field, and they'll be saying, "Oh, Combo, great game, great game." I said, "I didn't play well. I might have scored a goal or two, but I didn't play well."
Mm.
We have to sort of look at ourselves and scrutinize our earned game, so that we can make sure that we can build on
That's
what
right.
we started to do. And I think that's when we'll start to see an improvement in our game.
Mm.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very, very much for this walk down memory lane. Dennis, I think we got more. We got even more this time around from some.
Yeah, hey. And Earl, I think Cal said it. We need to have some sort of forum where we introduce a lot of the, because even last week I happened to be in Gorham's, and I saw a Zende fabric player, a Dandyton. I always try to encourage him, tell him, hang in there, your time will come to the national team. And one of the things he said was that he enjoys, him and another young man, Isaiah Taylor, was saying that, they really enjoy the show. To hear what the guys back in the day used to do and talk about. So I think, like, at some point we need to look at like a forum where yesterday and today, and just to let these guys know, because a lot of them, to me, I think they need to be nurtured and guided and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and set them on the right path. So
Sure.
it was great talking to these guys tonight, because I've always had love and respect for these guys, and it was just great.
Amen.
I agree. I agree of having a forum. I just think what we need to make sure is that the egos are left off the air, because a lot of these guys in our coaching clubs right now have a lot of personal issues, my way or the highway or something like that, where having an open and honest conversation about improving the game together might not be their strength. And if they're going to do that, they're going to have to leave that ego thing off the air. So I just think
over the years, I've learned to curse somebody without cursing.
Exactly.
So they'll listen. You know what I mean? We can tell them in a way where it's going to improve them. But like you said, we have to put our egos aside for the best interest of football in this country. And I think if we're serious about getting football back, people will put those egos aside.
Sure.
Earl, before you go, I like to thank all the group that's here tonight. for helping to help my development into being the coach that I am today, and being friends even throughout the years. So thank you all.
Yes, indeed. And thank you all for being part of a walk down memory lane on this night, because I think everyone has pretty much thoroughly enjoyed listening to you guys reminisce about your time at the former Red Devils, now the Rams. How's that, Sharon?
Once a Red Devil, always a Red Devil.
So you bringing your name back? Because you were successful under that name.
No, we've been more successful under the new name, but that's
okay.
a point of contention.
You're going from a devil to a ram.
Well done, guys. Well done.
All right. Thank you very much.
Guys,
Enjoy the
thank
night.
you very much.
Okay. All right.
Okay.